Hi, I'm live. Yes, I'm live and I'm in boat jail. So I'm not sure what kind of quality this is going to be, but let's hope for the best, as we've hoped for the best throughout this entire experience. So Lorraine Simpson here. I am here in Saint Martin. We arrived here in Saint Martin on the 28th to get on to a cruise that was going to be our gift to each other for a tough year, and also a little bit of a gift after working so hard at the new pivot project, the Travel Cafe, and also our chocolate bombs, which I've publicized so you know that we've been quite busy. So here's my story. We are triple vaccinated, so double vaccinated with a booster shot. And we also were tested with a PCR test in a clinic downtown Toronto before we traveled. On arrival in Saint Martin, we had an antigen test, also negative. We have zero symptoms. Look at me, I'm completely fine. And I tested positive on check-in at the cruise, the Windstar cruise. We were going on to the Windstar Legend, positive. Yeah, not the story that I wanted to tell you. Absolutely not the story I wanted to tell you. But hey, I'm a travel journalist. It's all about the story. This is not what I would have chosen. But hey, we don't always get the best stories. We don't always travel first class. We don't always stay in the best hotels. So, okay, this is not the story that I wanted to tell, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. So let's start back at the beginning again. Once we were tested with the PCR test, you have to bear in mind that I didn't get this on the cruise ship. I got this in my small little hometown in Niagara somehow. How, we don't know, because we spent the whole Christmas weekend alone at home. We're not party goers, we don't go out much. So how I got it is pretty much a mystery, to be honest. Anyway, we got it, and it is what it is. And when I tested positive with a PCR test at the cruise check-in, which they were doing as an abundance of caution, it turned out that it was positive. So instead of sailing with me on board, they decided that they were going to offload us and put us onto the windsurf ship. And I'm very grateful for that, because here's the thing. Yes, we have insurance, but it's New Year's. Nowhere was going to have room. If they did, it was going to be very expensive and probably not all covered by insurance. Who knows? We didn't check it out. But on the windsurf, there are other guests who were on last week's ship, which is the ship that was sailing that did end up having a few passengers test positive. They basically picked up the bill. So the cruise company has picked up the bill, and we ended up on board the windsurf in quarantine. Now, day one, quarantine was not cool, because day one, they put us separate. And I tell you, if you know me, you know my relationship, you will know that if I was separated from Keith in quarantine, you would be taking me out in a box, probably. So eventually, we agreed, we signed an agreement to say that should he test positive, because at the time he was testing negative, should he test positive, we both accept that responsibility. Well, we're both asymptomatic. He's now got it as well. He's now tested positive. And we're just waiting to get 2 days of negative tests. And we have to have 2 days of negative tests, and or 10 days of quarantine. This is the first time we've been allowed outside of the room. This is the first day we've had any kind of yard break from our boat jail, shall we say. Sorry, I should say ship jail, but I don't give a shit. But we're trying to remain positive. We are trying to make the most of it. The cruise line has been fantastic. They have, we have good food. It gets delivered every day. We're still asymptomatic, so we're very healthy. we're missing our cruise, which is really sad because we really wanted to have a wonderful cruise. But this Omicron is getting in the way of a lot of that for a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to really share all of the story, good and bad. It's very boring. We are in a room with very nice facilities, very nice facilities and everything, and very nice food, and that's great. And it was a risk we took. You know, I am a travel journalist. When I travel for work. This was a vacation, but still, it's a risk. It was a calculated risk, and I don't regret it for a minute. I absolutely do not regret it for 1 minute. So I'm glad we did it. And it's a story to tell, and it's a story to tell for the future, and we'll look back on it and we'll say, oh my goodness, do you remember when we were in quarantine for New Year's? And, you know, so be it. But in the meantime, I'm not against cruising in any way. I think that cruising is fantastic. I think the cruise line have been picking up the tab for situations like this because it isn't their responsibility. We were not on the cruise yet. We did not test while we were on the cruise, so it wasn't their responsibility, but they still took care of us. They still looked after us, and I'm grateful for that. A few tips that I would say for the future is make sure you are fully insured, not just your credit card, fully insured. If you choose to travel in the future, be fully insured, because if you're not, and you are in a situation where perhaps a cruise line isn't responsible for you, or you were at a hotel or something like that, you have to make sure that you are fully insured, and your insurance would cover you for any situation like this. Next, before you travel, get a PCR test that is the deep PCR test. We had the PCR molecular test, I think it's called, the one that doesn't go very deep, and that's the one that did not pick it up. So if you really want to be sure and you don't want to get stuck, do the deep PCR test, and then we can be fully sure that that is the case. Now, one other thing is that while the ship sailed without us, they also will be testing everybody every single day with a PCR test, so that they don't miss anybody else, which is good. And in the meantime, I am so grateful that we were able to be together. That would have driven me absolutely bananas if we weren't together. But hey, we are, and I'm really grateful for that. Oh yes, please, I would love a Coke. And now we're outside, and it's lovely, and it's lovely to see the outside. It's lovely to feel the warmth and to have a drink and to be able to take to take in that vitamin D that we really needed, and I'm grateful for that. So if you want to know more, follow along on my blog, lorrainesimpson.com. I will be posting of all the experiences going forward, and a few funny moments as well, because we are trying to make the most of this and have some fun with it. You know, it is what it is. There's no point me getting upset. There's no point me fighting it. It is a government rule. It's a government mandate, and it is a risk we took, and either of us regret it, do we? Do we regret it?
No,
we don't regret it.
Still a vacation, believe it or not.
It is a vacation.
It is what you make it.
Yeah, it's funny actually. I was feeling a bit miserable earlier, and Keith said to me, "Look, we're in a room together, and we're not worried about anything. You know, we're healthy, and we're just sitting here, and we're not worried about anything. So actually, it's not as bad as it could be worse. It could always be worse." So that is my story, and follow along on my website to see more about when we may be released from boat jail. And I think I may have to attack Keith with the plastic fork that they give us. because now I'm testing negative and he's testing positive. And if that goes on, I may have to attack him. Not really, but you know. But that's okay, because if he died, I'll just tell them that he has COVID and he died of COVID. So it wasn't me. Ignore the plastic fall on his head. But we are having a bit of fun with it. We are laughing, and we're laughing at each other and chasing each other around the bedroom, which, yeah, or he's chasing me around the bedroom, put it that way. And yeah, it is what it is. Bloody COVID. It could be gone for me. Thank you very much. I'm done with it. I'm over it. 2022, could you please get rid of this damn virus, because I'm done with it. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, text me or message me, because I have intermittent Wi-Fi. It seems to be really good out here, so intermittent Wi-Fi, and yeah, we will chat soon. Next update in a couple of days, hopefully, it is to tell you that we are out of boat jail. But for now, we're out of the room, and that's as good as it gets right now. I'm happy with that. Bye for now.